News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 98.3 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A single mom runs for mayor of Missoula. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning for Wednesday, May 3rd, 2017. Skies clear. It is a beautiful morning in western Montana, but it's a little crisp. Only have about 34 degrees in Missoula right now. And our newscast this morning is sponsored by Dig It Excavating, bringing 30 years of excellence to every job. Give them a call today at 214-4292. One of our top stories this morning, she's a single mom, tired of what have been called inevitable tax increases by a man who many say could be mayor for life. She's Lisa Tripke. She had her first opportunity to meet the public and the media yesterday afternoon before a small but enthusiastic crowd at the Iron Horse, just blocks from City Hall.
The two things that led me to run for mayor were the fact that the current administration came out and said that they were mayor for life and that our taxes were going to raise every year. That was what ultimately led me to explore entering the race. And instead of sitting back and complaining about it, after we delved into the viability of the campaign, it seemed like it was better to step up and try to do something.
Tripke said she would have handled issues such as acquiring Mountain Water Company through the process of condemnation and the construction of the walking bridge over South Reserve differently than the present administration.
I think we need to somehow find a way to get feedback from the voters, and actual feedback rather than just saying we talk to our constituents. We need to reach out to the community and get some input, not just at the time of the election, but after the election too. We need to keep people engaged.
Tripke said she has no specific axe to grind with present Mayor John Engen, who is running for his fourth term in office.
No, I don't have any agenda, honestly, other than to help get the out-of-control spending under control and help the voters feel and actually have a voice in the way their city is going.
Tripke said she's going to run a middle-of-the-road campaign based on maximizing limited resources and to gain control of unnecessary spending. Unofficial election results in Missoula County show the Missoula Elementary District No. 1 General Fund levy passing. The levy passed by a vote of 94-95 yes to 76-36 no. The $800,000 levy will help fund teachers' salaries, utilities, and classroom materials. It will raise property taxes about $20 a year on a $200,000 home. And the mill levy in Victor failed by a wide margin. We'll get full details on that in our next newscast with Steve Fullerton. The Democratic candidate for Montana's U.S. House seat has reported an additional $57,000 in income previously not included in the financial disclosure statement he filed 2 months ago. Musician Rob Quist filed a new disclosure statement after Associated Press queries about discrepancies in the income he reported in his initial disclosure statement and on his 2016 income tax returns. The new federal disclosure statement shows Quist and his wife Bonnie made about $136,000 in 2016. The original report identified about $79,000. Campaign officials say the new filing was a routine update. Quist's 2016 tax return listed total income of $64,000. Quist, Republican Greg Gianforte, and Libertarian Mark Wicks are campaigning to fill the seat vacated by now Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke. The Missoula County Attorney's Office and trauma expert Andrew Lau have been recognized with an achievement award from the National Association of Counties for their secondary trauma group program. County Attorney Kirsten Pabst explains why the program is important.
We're learning in this field that people who work and spend their careers working on the front lines dealing with other people in trauma, such as victims, they need an avenue to process this with secondary trauma in order to avoid pretty serious consequences of their own, personally and professionally.
Pabst says they're still learning as the program grows, and she hopes to educate as many people as possible about the effects of trauma.
The more people in the community that we can get educated in the effects of trauma and how it affects victims' memories and how it affects their personal lives and their work lives and the secondary trauma, the effects that it has on people that are brave enough to stay in this job and do these trials and continue to do it with very little gratitude.
According to Pabst, they plan to share what they've learned with other communities facing similar challenges. The Montana Supreme Court heard arguments in an appeal filed by a Butte man serving a life sentence for killing his infant daughter in August of 2013. Appellate defender Kristen Peterson argued Monday that jurors should not have heard about Matthew Blas's conviction for assaulting his wife a month earlier while she held their daughter, Madison. Peterson argued the assault conviction was wrongly used as a character evidence and introduced an image of Blas as being violent. The Bozeman Daily Chronicle reports that Peterson asked that Blas be given a new trial. Assistant Attorney General Mike Wellenstein said the prior assault was relevant and showed Blas as a general hostility towards his family. Justices heard the arguments as part of an annual Law Day event at Montana State University in Bozeman. They will issue a ruling at a later date. This week, 62-year-old Richard Brandt was sentenced after a court in Miles City found him guilty of running a Ponzi scheme that took advantage of 18 Montanans. Montana State Auditor's Office spokesman Kyle Schmauk explains.
Brandt was sentenced to 60 years behind bars with 20 years suspended, and that was for running a Ponzi scheme and committing securities fraud. He was deceiving elderly Montanans into a house flipping company that he had started that were not legitimate investments.
Schmauk says Brandt's sentencing is a record for the Montana State Auditor's Office.
This is the longest sentence that the Auditor's Office has ever gotten in a securities case. The judge commented on the lack of remorse that Brandt seemed to show, and also that he was really targeting people who were vulnerable due to their advanced age and mental impairment. Really went after vulnerable people and exploited them.
Schmauk says Brandt became a suspect after a tip came in from Adult Protective Services involving a 100-year-old woman scammed out of $90,000. It was a soggy, slightly stinky day at Clinton Elementary School yesterday after staff noticed flooding in the building. District Superintendent Tom Stack explains.
About 5 o'clock, I got a phone call from my head cook that we had some water leaks in the kitchen and the basement, and so by the time I got out here, we were dealing with a water leak and a septic issue. So currently we're working with Day Spring Restoration, Sweet Pea Sewer and Septic, and the Missoula County Health Department to remedy this situation as quickly as possible.
Stack said there was a little bit of a smell in the school because of the leak and septic problem, but the health service was working quickly to rectify any potential health issues. Parents were notified of a closure via a voice messenger application. Repairs of the building were finished quickly. School is open and ready for students today. So once again, Clinton School is open today. Finally, if you think University of Montana is the only university with budget problems, look what's happening at the University of Wyoming. They're expecting layoffs in the coming weeks as it deals with more than $40 million in budget cuts. University spokesman Chad Baldwin told the Casper Star-Tribune it's unclear how many staff members will lose their jobs, but the number is expected to be fewer than 50. The layoffs would not include faculty members. UW Staff Senate Vice President Rachel Stevens said the layoffs were expected and little could be done to prevent them. The university has lost tens of millions of dollars in state funding during the current two-year budget cycle amid the ongoing decline in the energy sector. In the past year, the school announced more than $29 million in reductions to address cuts made by the state. Again, that's in Wyoming. Our News Talk time now, 6:13.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Partly sunny skies today with high temperatures in the mid-60s. We drop back into the 40s tonight with highs near 80 degrees on Thursday and Friday. Afternoon thunderstorms for the end of the week. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.